Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the third edition of the series Rough Pitch the Balkan Way. There is no better way to start this week, so I hope that you are comfortably seated with a cup of coffee and tea beside you, and that you're going to enjoy this online initiative as much as we did and still do while preparing it and making it happen. For this edition, we received a total of 21 projects, and among them, 8 were selected, coming from Bulgaria, Croatia, Greece, Hungary, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Serbia. 8 projects and their teams already participated at the online workshop prior to the live pitching with our dear and wonderful tutors, Helen Granqvist and Valeria Richter, who really did an amazing job and devoted their time in helping the teams to find their way to tell their stories. My name is Martina Petrovic, and I'm going to be your host for today. And of course, I'm not alone here. I have a huge backup, and here I would like to forward my big thank you to my dream team, my wonderful friends and colleagues, media desks, starting with Bulgaria, Kamen Balkansky and Vasil Nikolov, Greece, Anna Kasimati and Alexis Tsiakoniatis, Hungary, Adam Pasternak, Montenegro, Marija Nikčević, North Macedonia, Marija Marić and Marija Zelenkovska, and Serbia, Una Domazetovski and Anja Ćosić. Last but not the least, we also have on board our dear colleague and friend from Denmark, Lone Garde, so thank you all for helping me out. Of course, in terms of the financial support coming from the media desks, there is also important to mention that we were supported by the Bulgarian National Film Center, Croatian Audiovisual Film Center, North Macedonian Film Agency, Film Center of Montenegro, and Film Center of Serbia. A big thank you to all the film centers. Everything started 3 years ago during COVID times, and I had this idea and just didn't know how to realize it. And as true magicians, Wizards of Oz as they are, Helen, producer from Sweden, and Valeria, scriptwriter from Denmark, did some magic tricks guiding me in the developing and realizing this idea. So it's about the time to see who they are. We already know them from the first edition, so let me start first by welcoming our dear Helen on board.
Thank you so much, Martina. I'm here.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be back. It's the third time we do it the Balkan way, and it has been an amazing week, an amazing journey, and I hope you all will have as good time as we have had to be story tourists into these worlds we will meet today.
Thank you, Helen. Now I would like to invite Valeria. So, dear Valeria, also welcome to you.
Thank you. Yeah, you've done an amazing job, and it's you've done an amazing job, and it's really great to be here. So I can't wait to get this show rolling and see what happens in the next small hour or so. Thank you.
Thank you, Valeria. Of course, this year we also have 5 wonderful jury members. Some of them you might have already known from the last years, and some of them are new for this edition. So let me start by introducing Andrea Hoffman on behalf of the Berlinale co-production market. So Andrea, hello.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Martina, and your team. It's great to be back again on the jury, and I'm really looking forward to the pitches today.
Thank you for being here with us today. We move to the next one, Solène Moreau, Serious Mania. So, bonjour, Solène.
Bonjour, hello.
Ça va?
I'm really happy to be back again this year to give an award from Series Mania. We offer 1 accreditation to one of the projects. I'm really looking forward to discussing with all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, merci. And also non-face from the last year, Grace Maharaj on behalf of the VIF Sweden. Hello, Grace.
Hello, Martina, and hello, everybody. It's lovely to be back here. I enjoyed myself thoroughly last year in the Balkan Way, and very excited to hear the pitches today.
Thank you, Grace, for joining us also for the third edition. And we would like to introduce a new face in the jury team. It's Dunja Ujovic, TV4 Sweden. So Dunja, warm welcome to you. It's nice to have you also on board.
Thank you. I'm very happy to have been asked, and I'm really looking forward today to hearing the pitches and to knowing more about the project.
Thank you, Dunja. And last but not the least, we also have on board Anne Laila Uzzi, Managing Director of the Sami International Film Institute. So a warm welcome to Anne. Let's see if Anne is joining us.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm also really much looking forward to hearing your pitches, and I'm sure the jury here will have a hard time today deciding anything. So, kiitos.
I definitely agree. It's not going to be an easy task to do. So, but what are we actually doing today? And with the Q&A and your decision making, it's important for our audience to underline that the jury will decide which project benefits the most in receiving the 5,000 euros. Of course, on behalf of Serious Mania, as Solen already mentioned, there will be also some free accreditations for the next edition of Serious Mania. But dear tutors will also decide who receives the special mention. I also encourage dear audience to be active, to communicate with us, to choose their favorite projects, because maybe if you are active enough, there will be some presents for you as well. So, how is the procedure? Each project will be represented, followed by a short introduction by me, followed by a video pitch and the Q&A from the jury. Once all projects are represented, we will have a 15-minute break, and we will come back live again with the announcements of the awards. So, dear audience, definitely stay tuned. The first project that is going to open the third edition of the series Rough Pitch The Balkan Way is the Bulgarian project. A crime thriller TV series, True Tender Heart, is going to be presented by writer-director Nadia Todorova. Let's have a look at the video.
Hi, my name is Nadia, and I used to be a true crime addict. I even picked my favorite serial killer when I was 16. Shh. Now, how do you pick a favorite serial killer? I'm glad you asked. For example, Ted Bundy is way too cliche, but the nicotine killer is a little bit too niche, so my sweet spot was Ed Kemper. He was known by many other true crime fans, but not so much the general public. I used to love telling people that he was my favorite because he refused to ever leave prison even when he was offered the chance to, because he knew he was too dangerous, which in my eyes made him very human and empathetic. Ed Kemper has killed at least 10 people, including his own mother. 70% of the victims of serial killers have been women, and yet the majority of people who devour true crime are also women. Books, podcasts, TV shows, movies, exploiting true crime stories has become a really big business. And there's a very strong paradox between what serial killers actually do and the morbid entertainment we get from consuming it. But stories have a much bigger impact on us and on our society than we actually think. Case in point, ever since Spielberg's massive hit Jaws was released in 1975, the global population of sharks has decreased by over 70%. My show, True Tender Heart, deals with Sarah, who is just like I was, obsessed with true crime to the point of desperately humanizing these perpetrators. Sarah has a boring job in a call center in Sofia, and she dreams of one day making it as a true crime writer. When a string of murdered women catches her attention in the news, she believes that this is the serial killer she's been waiting for, even though everyone, including her policeman friend, deny that there is any correlation between these murders. Sarah makes it her mission to connect the dots before anyone else. So, she befriends the victims' families, She asks them for information and she promises, cross her heart, that she would never use this information to profit from it. But the more she learns about the victims, the more human they seem in her eyes. They're no longer just headlines or clues for her investigation. And she starts feeling sick about her own obsession. She also starts believing that the serial killer knows she's onto him and is now following her. Her best friend begs her to reconsider, to take a step back, because this obviously isn't healthy. And also she's re-traumatizing all of these families. But when that very same best friend is killed in a car accident, Sarah just knows in her heart that this was a warning to her. Finally on the right side of morality, Sarah will now start believing that all of her obsession and all of her research will be for one good reason, to find justice for the victims and their families. But when she is given the chance to write a true crime book about the serial killer she's been chasing, despite all the tears she saw in the family's eyes and despite the promises she made them, Sarah will grab her chance at true crime fame. End of season 1. Now, when a copycat serial killer inspired by her book emerges in season 2, she will finally have the chance to redeem herself. Will she take it? We'll see. True Tender Heart is not here to point fingers or place blame. I created it out of my own reasons to justify my obsession with serial killers, but it slowly progressed into the realization that we really need to put the true crime business under the microscope. I wanted to create a show that looks at the psychological effects of true crime on everyone, from the viewers to the victims' families to the copycats. I think as a writer, it's important that we know the impact that stories have on our world. Recently, Bulgaria has seen an uprising in protests against femicide and the violence against women. On many of these protests, we carry posters that all say one thing: Bulgaria is a graveyard for women. Only in the last year, women have been found in dumpsters, in suitcases, murdered in their sleep, or buried in their backyards. And yet, no change has been made or demanded outside of the feminist circles. In fact, public figures still openly speak about how, to them, our protests and cries for help are, and I quote, sorry for the harsh words, whores and bitches whining. Bulgaria is a graveyard for women. I think writers and producers, we all have a responsibility about the stories that we put out in the world. I know I can't change the world with a TV show, but at least the conversation. I recently received the BBC International Playwriting Award, and I studied showrunning at Serialize. With True Tender Heart, I'd like to establish myself as a showrunner at the European TV scene. We've told every serial killer story numerous times. We search for ways to humanize the minds of serial killers, but we don't even see their victims as human. It's about time we do. Thank you.
And now we move to the Q&A. So the first project, whose video we just saw, is True Tender Heart, being represented by writer-director Nadia Todorova from Bulgaria, whom I kindly ask to jump in.
Hi everyone.
And say hello. Hello, Nadia.
Hi.
Hello, Nadia. Welcome on board. Hope that you also enjoyed the workshop and that it was a new experience for you when it comes for the Balkan pitch. But let's see who has some questions for you. So from the jury members, who is going to start? It takes some time to connect them as everything is live. So who has the question for Nadia?
I can start.
Okay. Solène.
So in your pitch, well, thank you for your pitch. And you seem to want to address the obsession of women for true crime in a patriarchal society. And I wanted to know more about how will this be specifically addressed in the episodes. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So basically, the main character, Sarah, will be, a true crime buff. We'll see her going to true crime conventions in the very first episode, where we will see the gruesome reality of true crime as a business. And from then on, as the story progresses in its first season, we're going to see how this obsession with true crime affects her psychologically, which is based on a lot of research that I've done, that anxiety increases the more true crime you watch, the more obsessed you become with a specific story. Sometimes you start seeing things, hearing things, and so on. So I'm going to create this sort of narrative around her of her anxiety being personified, even in the version of a human that she imagines is there chasing her. And it's a very important topic for me. So thank you for the question.
Thank you, Solène. Anybody else from the jury?
Can you see my hand there, Martina? I'm going to just take it down then.
You
I
just
have a
start
question.
talking. Yeah, Grace. Mhm.
Thank you, Nadia. What is the target age group for your series?
Yes, the target age group, I would say, is from 18 to late 30s. These are the people from what I've read that are most obsessed with true crime. By the way, both men and women. It's just that women, for whatever reason, are the majority of the audience. So the target audience is definitely 18 to late 30s, early 40s.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Grace. Do we have also somebody else being curious about Nadia's project?
Anna Lila.
Anna Lila, please.
You should probably start over because I'm on the video now and not Anna Lila.
Yeah. So this is tutor Valeria. We need Anna Lila.
So, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mhm.
So thank you for a very good presentation. I really liked your pitch very, very much. And I was just curious about how far you are in the development of the script and how far in the storyline. Where are you at in the process? Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words, firstly. I have written actually so far 2 drafts of the pilot, but I'm doing everything by myself. I don't have a producer attached. I have 2 drafts of the pilot and I keep rewriting it because the more I learn about true crime as a business and the more stories come out, the more I want to address them. And also I have planned out the entire first season. I have plans for the second season. I know the issues I want to address, and I have plans up to season 3. That's how I imagine it, as a 3-season show. That's it. Each addressing a different topic regarding true crime.
Thank you. I think that this will be all for Nadia. So good luck, Nadia, for later on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now we are going to move to Greece. The title of the project is Dark Water, presented by Orpheas Peretsis, writer-creator, and Konstantinos Vassilaros, producer, on behalf of the production company Studio Bauhaus, based in Athens, Greece. The video.
Dark Water is an existential exploration of the human psyche. What does it mean to be at the front line, to be crushed by a huge humanitarian crisis, being in a tiny place? That place is a Greek island. It's called Lesbos, right at the edge of Europe, with the borders with Turkey. A place where I learned to enjoy solitude. A place with breathtaking landscapes. It happened to know that place quite well because I served there my 10-month military service. I explored the island, the villages, the beaches, empty in the winter, full of tourists in the summer. In 2015, everything changed. More than 400,000 refugees went into Europe to look for a safer future through Lesbos. A lot of stories came up on the news, tragic stories. A place with only 50,000 inhabitants suddenly changed. Imagine how this impacted the community. I felt the urge and the urgency to investigate and write about it. I chose one character who was born and raised in the island. His name is Captain Nikolaos. He works for the Greek Coast Guard. He witnessed his homeland changing in a few weeks. It became a melting pot of various international groups, from NGOs, volunteers, smugglers, criminals, tourists. And as more people start to arrive into the island, the infrastructure of the island started to collapse. Captain Nikolaos wants to do good, but he stumbles upon bureaucracy and dirty politics. In one episode, he's even asked not to save people, going against his beliefs as a captain. Everyone starts to accusing the Coast Guard, including Captain Nikolaos. Even his family questions his ethics. There's a lot of friction inside him now. He has to choose which side is he going to be, with the institutions or the people. And in the end, he does the unthinkable, to go against his superiors. Dark Water focuses on the ripple effects of immigration that had to this local community. How to deal with emotions of pain and guilt. What we would have done being in the front line.
So, I'm Konstantinos Vasilaros, producer of the project, and that was Orpheus Pereches, creator and writer of Dark Water. Dark Water is a crime drama of 10 episodes, 45 minutes each, and its format is procedural, meaning that each episode starts with a single dramatic event which takes us and Captain Nikolaos into the different groups that are and communities that are mixed on this crisis on this island. At this stage, we're developing. We have a pilot script written. We have step outlines for all the episodes. And what we need at this stage to do is keep writing, add more writers in the team, bring in a researcher who will help us further investigate the events we base each episode in. This series has to be a multilateral co-production within Europe and beyond, not only because of financing reasons, but because of the international nature of these stories, stories that challenge our European identity and our humanity. Our past film productions here at Bauhaus are premiered in Locarno, in Venice. We've had nominations from our Hellenic Film Academy, from the Independent Spirit Awards in the US. And Orpheus' previous film won the Audience Award at Thessaloniki, and we just completed his first feature film in co-production with France, which was presented at Les Arcs Works in Progress. This will be our first TV series we're developing, and we're pleased to present it here in this event. Thank you very much for listening.
We are now going to move to Greece, so I kindly invite Konstantinos and Orpheus to join me.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome on board. So let's see what questions the jury members prepared for you. So who's gonna start?
I could jump in with a question. So,
Andrea.
hi. Thank you both for your pitch. So, Orpheus, when you were describing in your pitch video the development and changes in your protagonist's mindset, also in his interactions as a captain, and also his inner conflict and his flaws, I thought, yeah, that's an interesting and complex character arc. And then later, Konstantinos, you mentioned that you have chosen a procedural structure. So I was just wondering if or how that character's arc will unfold actually in the procedural structure.
I think the procedural as a term, it has to do with the structure of each episode. It doesn't have to do with how the character evolves. So there is different intensity moving from one episode to the other. So the stakes are higher as each episode progresses throughout the season. So in that sense, we talk about a character who appears to have a solid mindset that gradually it's under questioning, and himself starts to question his beliefs. I don't know if Konstantinos, you want to say about the procedural.
No, I think it talks about how each episode sort of starts with an event, which always Nikolaos is involved, Captain Nikolaos. So each episode has a different event, different topic, but overall, the arc of the character throughout the 10 episodes is how Orpheus explained.
They answered, Andreas, your question. And do we have somebody else on board from the jury? Just start speaking.
Hello. So thank you for a very strong pitch and story also. I think it's really interesting. I was just curious because you are mentioning Nikolaos as the main character. Are you thinking about the other characters, the perspective of the refugees, for example? Is that something you are working on in your working with the script? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I think it's something that we have discussed. In a way, we wanted to focus in one character for the first season because we wanted to really go deep into one perspective. Because if you want to share from different groups, there is danger not to really see that internal and emotional conflict. However, if we manage to develop a second season, for sure it's something that we would like to also change the point of view. But I think for 10 episodes, I think it's very crucial. It's very important to focus on one character, to have a very rich and deep understanding of one character and how it is to be at the front line and experience this massive humanitarian crisis.
But there are a lot of other secondary characters, of course, in the series. Family, everyone else, yeah.
Thank you, Anne-Laila. Let me see if anybody else wants to ask the Greek team.
Yes, I have a question. Thank you for a great pitch.
Dunya.
I was thinking a little bit, it's 10 episodes, which is quite a lot these days, I would say. So I was starting to think about the plot, and I think it's such an interesting world you have built. So would you like to just give us something more we can envision what will happen in the story?
Yeah, I mean that world it's quite complex. It has many different groups. It has many different international groups in a tiny place. So because of the main character's position being in the Ghost Guard, it's actually a character that links all these different groups together. So that creates a lot of action, a lot of conflict. You get to meet a lot of different groups in that tiny place. And this is a great juxtaposition and dramatic tension between all these different groups, using this character as a vehicle. So the nature of the series is very heavily traditional crime drama with a lot of with very sensitive with a social within a social context. And a humanitarian crisis. So I think it combines also in the beauty of the island itself. So you have a crime drama with a very serious socio-political context within a truly beautiful island.
Thank you, Dunya. And thank you, Orpheus and Konstantinos, and good luck to both of you. Now we are moving to Croatia and the TV series comedy drama Dear Insects and Other Creepy Stories. It is going to be presented by Karla Lulic, writer, director, producer, and founder of the production company Dobar Film, and Jelena Mađarić, producer, who joined the company recently. Karla is known for her awarded short films, while both are developing TV series and Karla's debut feature film. Let's have a look at the video.
Hello, I'm Karla, writer, director, and producer.
And I'm Jelena, the producer.
We are in an old socialist concrete building somewhere in the suburbs of Zagreb. Summer, 40 plus degrees. Miro, the janitor, is keeping the building in order. He knows everything about everyone, or at least he thinks so. He's a bit creepy, but actually just a lonely guy, living with his wife, only consuming TV soap operas, and working in the supermarket downstairs. The first episode of the series starts when Miro spots a cockroach entering the building, and he is determined to hunt it down. What he doesn't know is that Clara, a little girl living in the upper floor, is making her parents' life a living hell, as for her birthday she only wants one thing: a creepy greenish doll from Chernobyl she saw on TV. Clara wants that doll. Clara needs that doll. But the doll is radiated. It will make her hair fall down. It will give her rashes, but Clara wants her hair to fall down. She wants rashes. She seems like possessed, like she needs an exorcism. Days go by, exhausted, like zombies. Parents order an original Chernobyl doll from a Chinese seller. Now, only five more workdays of suffering until the delivery. Relieved and in anti-radiation suits, parents watch their child playing with the doll. But the next day, the freaking child wants a new doll. This is episode 1. Each of the 8 episodes bring us into a new story and into a new apartment. A dying woman who is scared to be buried alive, so she insists to be buried with her phone just in case if she's still alive. Or a loser living with his parents buys an insurance life policy believing it will make him rich, but without reading a small print. This makes them bankrupt. Parents need their money back. So luckily, their son's life is now under insurance and they have a twisted idea. Or a story of a retired woman with a broken down fridge. And at all costs, she wants to preserve her fish from rotting. She gets locked into the freezer in the supermarket downstairs and dies freezing with the fish. And what about doll from Chernobyl? Well, it radiates the whole building, including the first cockroach that entered. He now seems stronger than ever. Miro is now seeing cockroaches everywhere, gradually falling into madness as they multiply and multiply and multiply and multiply. Do they have a plan? Getting into more extremes to fight the cockroaches and to bring the order, Miro and the tenants lose the battle as the cockroaches take over the building. These stories are about us. We explore dark and complicated nature in stories where people lose their heads, hair, or even die. It's about everyday problems in all of their glory, which escalate and become more absurd. And that's what makes them creepy. It's about finding creepy in the ordinary.
And it's about nothing.
And it's about everything. We consume and consume, driven by fears and desires. But are we the ones consumed at the end? Can consumerism really make us feel better? Can we buy happiness?
Dear Insects and Other Creepy Stories is a dark humor anthology TV series. It's based on the novel under the same name and winner of prestigious awards, and it's also translated into 7 languages, which gives this series an international appeal and potential to grab not just the creepy genre crowd, but also a wider audience.
And we need comedies now more than ever. They are rare and in high demand by the audiences.
Our format is 8 episodes of 26 minutes. We have a solid pilot in place, as well as the treatment of each episode. And Carla's previous work has been described with an enthusiasm as a gothic lollipop style, which fits well into the vision for this series.
Oh, and a good advice: never squash a cockroach. It only attracts more of them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next project is the Creation one, and I would like to welcome the Creation team who is today joining us. It's Jelena and Carla. So welcome, ladies.
Hi. Thank you. Welcome.
And
Thank you.
let's see if the jury members have also questions for you. So who's gonna start?
I can start. Thank you for an interesting pitch. I was wondering, since you said it's based on a book, like how much adaptation for TV have you done, and how did that process look like?
Thank you for an excellent question. As this is the adaptation of the book, it has a limited number of stories. And the process of the adaptation, so it's a limited TV series that can, of course, extend to a second season if proven. But we think that being anthology limited series is kind of like an advantage for now. But the process of adaptation, to be more concrete, was very, very challenging. We learned so much through this process, because when you have a material to adapt, sometimes the ideas of the book and sometimes also the playfulness in the book cannot be expressed in the visual media. So through this process, we learned so much. More concretely, we were during the Mediterranean Film Institute in Greece developing the series, and we were actually through the adaptation invented a lot of things. Some of the characters are invented, and also as this anthology TV series is each character in different location and each character with its separate story, we worked on connecting them with time and place, and also with a central character that is connecting all the stories, which is the janitor Miro. So it was kind of a very interesting process. It was very much discussed how we can like connect the stories either by space or time, and also it was really, really, really playful. And also we are also collaborating with the author very closely, so she's following us through the creative process. And we believe that the adaptation of the book that now happens in only one place is production-wise very practical decision, but also story-wise very nice decision that worked through each episode.
Thank you. Let's see if somebody else from the jury also has.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your pitch. I have a question regarding the book. Is it translated in other languages?
Yes, it is. It's translated into Slovenian, Macedonian, German, Hungarian, and Czech.
In total, 7 languages.
7 languages in total, yes.
And can you
also,
sorry?
Yes, and also it just was introduced in Frankfurt on the biggest book market in Germany by the author and by the publisher.
To be translated into Germany? Into German.
Yes, it is translated and now presented to this biggest book fair. Yes.
That's great. Congratulations. And then I have, because this, of course, will help your development process in a much stronger. And then I have another question regarding the tone and feel of your story. Can you describe, when we're listening to your pitch, what kind of show am I looking at? What am I going to see?
Yes, great question. Where do I start? I should start with that this series is very grounded in reality. So these are stories about us. They are about normal, ordinary people and normal, ordinary circumstances that we will find them. But these stories will become kind of creepy and absurd in terms of maybe kind of like direction choices, such as some expressive lighting or maybe photography or sounds like buzzing of the flies or, little, steps of the cockroaches that are like creating this sound design that can be creepy, lighting that can be creepy, but everything is very ordinary. So we are all about finding the creepy in the ordinary and finding how much on our everyday life is actually absurd and funny, and that we can laugh to ourselves and our nature.
Thank you. Let's see if there is another question or we are moving to the next project.
I have a question about the target audience. Are you targeting only adults or also youth, or the contrary?
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, so this question is very elaborate for us because on one hand, we have an arena of characters that are tenants, that are different ages, different stages of life. So we believe that with this series, we can really reach a wider audience, but more concretely.
Our core audience is 20 to 49, more urban and higher education, and affinity for dark humor, cinephiles and genre lover, because it is stylistic series. And other we can grab as well as 50 plus urban and rural affinity for dark humor.
Yes, and also as this is the anthology series, it is very rare for either European and Croatian landscape to have such kind of series. But they have proven to have great success. So, for example, I don't know who knows about Inside Number 9, that is BBC series that has 8 seasons and it's still ongoing for 10 years. Also, Black Mirror on Channel 4 and Netflix. Wild Tales, that was in Cannes. This is the feature film actually that embraces 6 stories. And everything in common with this is that these are the separate stories that explore the worst in human, but also with a human approach and very dark humor tone. So, so we believe that it can really be also not for the genre crowd audience, but for the wider audience for all these reasons.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, and also good luck. Wish you good luck. The next club is our next project. It is the Hungarian project and is going to be presented by creator, writer Bojana Pap, who is also head of TV and scriptwriting department at Metropolitan University in Budapest, but also attached to the production company Movie Bar Productions. The video.
Let me present to you the next club, a place for artists, intellectuals, and other free spirits. It has been like this in the whole 20th century. The Nest Club is also an 8-episode TV series. It is a Second World War drama about the enduring power of art, culture, community, and love. I'm Bojana Pap, the writer and co-creator of the TV series. You might ask why we need another war story today. I come from a politically not so correct country and it feels shit. I continuously wonder how we ended up here. I found some answers in the 1930s and 40s. At that time, Hungary was a place of free spirit, and it became a place of horror. With this story, I am looking into how a country can change step by step into a place of genocide and moral corruption. I present to you the Nest Club. Most of you are probably familiar with the amazing nightlife of historical Berlin, but not so much with the amazing nightlife of Budapest in the 30s. And also meet Vali Rác, our main character, who is a young, talented singer from a Christian background. When she comes to the Nest Club in 1936, she is full of dreams and expectations. Here, she meets a lot of different artists, queers, and intellectuals. They organize art and intellectual events during daytime, but during nighttime, they organize amazing parties, illegal card games, and political meetings in the many secret rooms of this place. Vali soon becomes a star in Hungary. She is beautiful, and she resembles Marlene Dietrich. She quickly rises to stardom in Hungary, and her pianist fiancé Rudi is soon replaced by the radical and very sexy painter Esther. When Vali falls in love with the Jewish artistic director of the club Kálmán, the war has started and her double life begins. Vali sings Lili Marlene in Hungarian to frontline soldiers. She visits Berlin with official events, but secretly she hides Kálmán and his family and also helps Esther to escape the country. She is arrested by the Hungarian Nazi Party, but is let go. The Nest Club becomes an important European hideaway, and Vali faces the question day by day, what's more important, her individual career or the people who she loves? When Germany occupies Hungary in 1944, the already nightmare situation turns into horror. The Hungarian Nazi Party comes into power, and the Nest Club becomes a gate of hell, as it is located just on the edge of the Jewish ghetto. Vali bakes bread in the attic of the club, arranges safe papers for families, and continues to hide people in her villa. Just days before the liberation, Kálmán is brutally murdered as Vali's former fiancé Rudi reports him. Vali survives, but at the end of the war, she watches how her whole life is demolished within the Nest Club that is ruined by a Russian tank. We see the croupier in the ruins, inviting people. Come on, don't be so sad. Let's play. The story is based on Vali Rác's real story. Today, as you can see now, as I'm standing exactly there, the Nest Club stands at the same place and has the same function as it always had. It survived the war and also 4 decades of communism. It is a place of hope. But will it still be here tomorrow? This is why we want to show you stories of resistance today, just to see how people can save their own life and also save freedom for ourselves. The series will be directed by the award-winning director Ferenc Török. It is produced by Eszter Turán and Movie Bar Productions, who service-produced international series like the Austrian Vienna Blood and also the Netflix series Helicopter Heist. I am coming as a documentary director and as a scriptwriter into the project. We are in the development stage and have been financed by the Claims Conference, and we are looking for co-producers and also financial partners. Thank you.
We move to next one, so I kindly invite Bojana Pap to join me.
Hi, I'm here.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
And let's see if the jury has a question for you. So I kindly invite the jury members as well to jump in. Who's going to start?
I can jump in with a question.
Solène?
Thank you for your pitch. In your team, you have a strong background in documentary filmmaking, and I wanted to know how will you use that in this project, and how historically accurate will that be, and how fictional? What do you imagine for your development?
We had in the pitch. I told you that it is a real place and also a real character, and there is also a book about Validat's life story, which our main story is based on. Of course, we involve fictional events in the story, but most of the events and most of the characters are real, meaning that my documentary background is coming with a deep researcher work, like asking and working with historians and going and asking, making interviews, for example, with them. And the script, I didn't tell it in the pitch, but we already have the pilot episode written, and we did a huge research that it should be real, like meaning real political events, real life events. Like, for example, there is an episode that they are eating popcorn in a cinema in the 30s, and so I checked if it was real, and that was the time when the popcorn machine was or introduced in the cinema. So I'm very much concerned of how to connect to reality in this story, because it's a very important aspect. So that's my documentary background, basically the research and the authenticity I want to put in the film, yes.
Thank you. Anybody else from the jury? Just start with a question.
Hi, thank you for your pitch. I was just wondering what made you decide to develop this as a series and not as a feature film? Because I can also see it as a strong film as well.
We started as a film, but then we started to research, and then we realized that it's a much more complex story that we could put it into one film, actually. So that's the reason why we chose to go for a series with this topic. We have, of course, I didn't tell it, but we also have a dream of a second and also a third season, because has its very, very interesting story in the 70s and in the 80s. And we were youngsters there at the university, still in the 90s. So it really has a serious historical background. So we actually started to dig deeper into Wallis and also the Nest Club story. And it became clear that it's very, very important to tell the details and also the step-by-step events, and also how the development of the political and character issues. So we started as a feature film, yes, but then we went bigger in that sense.
Thank you. And let's see if we have the final question for Bojana, coming from the jury. We are moving to the next project. The next project comes from North Macedonia. The title is 17/3, a 45-minute, 8-episode psychological TV series presented by writer Onur Oskan, who is also known as screenwriter with several TV series and feature films to his credit. The project has a 150-page first draft season, Bible and pilot episodes, and both Onur and his producer Goce Kralevski, on behalf of DNF Films, are searching for financing further development and looking for co-productions to make it happen. The video.
As a child, one of my biggest pleasure was to study people in a big building from across the street with my father's binoculars. Yeah, I know, sounds a little bit creepy, but the 240 apartments were a free analog streaming platform with different stories in every window, from a love story to a drama with glasses flying in the air and ending in a brutal murder. That day, I realized that the moral line between observing and intervening had come unclear for me. So these experiences is the origin of this project called 17/3. An unsuccessful introverted writer in his 40s wishes to break free from writer's block and write a bestseller like his grandfather, in whose shadow our writer has been hiding all his life. His financial difficulties increase and he sees only one way out: to go back to use the observation skills he learned from the grandfather and find a story to write inspired by real people's lives. Determined he takes the action, he moves to a gray city building where many different types of people live. But he soon realized that it's more difficult task than he thought. To find the bestseller story he is looking for, his skills are simply not enough. To only watch is not enough, he needs to push reality to get his story. He gathers more information about the people in the building, but his publisher is still not happy and he needs more. But one day, everything changed when he hears the sound of a shotgun. The 8-year-old son of the family downstairs has injured playing with his father's rifle. The writers run down the stairs and tries to stop the boy's bleeding and calm the hysterical mother at the same time. It's her, the wonderful woman he has heard crying every night, beaten by her husband, and who the next day goes after the freshest tomatoes as if nothing had happened to her. As the accident brings the two closer, the writer now focuses on how this helpless and beautiful woman with the mysterious life and cruel husband can become a powerful character in his story. He seeks more detailed information about her life, and he's a lucky guy because one day she tells him that her husband might have committed a murder. An innocent woman, forbidden love, pain, and now murder. Bingo. Finally, his story managed to make the publisher happy. With the passion of being close to his goal, he feels like a puppet master in control of the world. But like Icarus, he's flying too close to the sun, and there is something the writer is unaware of. In his desire to succeed, the helpless mother, she has been the real puppet master, and that from the very beginning. She has been using the writer as a pawn in a trap she planned for her husband. So the writer, in his hunt for a bestseller, has become the protagonist of his own story, and this story will end in blood, sweat, and tears. So, this project is very special for me. It's based on my experiences as an introvert child. I learned very early to observe rather than interact. Here I play with point of views, knowing that perspective can change in a second, which can be both a threat but also a possibility. One of the weirdest things about the different stories separated by walls and the windows is the possibility that everyone can suddenly become the protagonist in one of those stories. And my only wish is that someone's to peep these windows like me.
Now I would like to call Onur to join me on board. So Onur, welcome. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. I hope you're okay too. Yeah, let's see what the jury members prepared for you. So who's going to start? The jury?
I could jump in with a very general question. So thanks, Honor, for your pitch, for your very mysterious story also. So my question would be, why should this story be a series? Why do you and how do you want to use serialized storytelling to bring the story to life?
Why it's a series, like?
Yes, and not rather a novel or a feature film. So how do you use serialized storytelling?
Yeah. Well, the connecting storylines and the character arcs in the story need a long time to be successfully work out. So, and unfortunately, this project isn't small enough to fit in a movie or maybe also in a book. So that's why I prefer to stretch the story and make a TV show.
Thank you. And anybody else from the jury?
Yes, I could also jump in with a question. Thank you for a very good pitch. It's interesting to listen to. I was just wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more of the main story in your script. So, because you said in your pitch that this writer who is trying to become successful, he turns out to be the protagonist in his own story. So I was just wondering, since it's a series and it's a big format, how are you picturing the bigger story in your project? Thank you.
Well, the protagonist moves from his lake house to the city, and his goal to find the people's stories inspire his new book. And the emotional arc of the character is also explained the big picture for me. And the emotional arc of the character changes a lot from the beginning to end. So that the protagonist, the writer, doesn't only find the story of his new best-selling book. He also finds the monster inside himself on this journey. I'm always explaining the writer's emotional arc with a photo, with the image, with a photograph. The photo by Kevin Carter, winner of a Pulitzer Prize for I think it was 1994. Shows a little black girl, African, dying of weakness, and the vulture circling nearby. And that they, instead of challenging the reality, the photographer chose to observe in order to capture the most powerful shot in his life. And sometime after receiving the award, out of guilt, he killed himself in his car. So this moral choice and its consequences are one of the inspirations for the main character of this project, and it is explaining me the big picture of the story. I mean, I'm talking about emotionally.
Thank you. And let's see if we have a last question from the jury.
I have a question.
Yes. Grace.
Thank you for your pitch and for what you just said now, which brings me to the question, this is a heavy story. What is the discussion? I mean, what is the style of your can you give me a texture of your style, the tone that you're going to be using in your series?
Well, the show is actually a crime thriller. It's about a writer who finds the clues of a mysterious murder in the past. while looking for something completely different. But I don't think it would be right to describe it is only as a crime drama, because we are also talking about psychological drama, and we are discovering a new layer of story as we learn not only who committed this crime, but also why the crime was committed and how it got to the point. And in this layer, we are faced with a more powerful and emotional, but also brutal story. And also I really like when I was writing. Probably film noir and horror noir was my biggest inspirations. And this is the explanation of the tone of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honor, good luck to you. Esta Vela is the Montenegrin project and a wonderful trio starting with Matija Jovanović, writer-director, Milo Vucinic, writer, and Nemanja Popović, producer, on behalf of Makina Production, will introduce the project to us. So let's have a look at the video.
Esta Vela is a TV show from Montenegro inspired by our past and present. Montenegro is one of the oldest European countries with a bloody history of fighting for freedom. It is also one of the youngest European states,
with a very young film industry.
So we declared our independence 17 years ago. Montenegro is one of the former Yugoslav republics waiting for decades to become part of European family. Corruption, crime, nepotism, and party rule have largely hindered that.
3 years ago, Montenegro for the first time in elections overthrew the government and the rule of the man for over 30 years.
So how many of us were at the protests against that regime, and was the police gentle towards the citizens? So did the fall of the government bring the long-awaited catharsis? Has anything fundamentally changed? So have the orderers and instigators of politically motivated murders of journalists, police inspectors, and others who obstructed unlimited power during the rule of the previous regime been found?
Are the big shots still free?
So is Esta Vela the first TV show of this kind in Montenegro, and is it inspired by the justice that never seems to arrive? The silent justice.
Yes. What is the center of Esta Vela story?
It all started with a gruesome act of crime. We have 3 school friends, Stevan, Michan, and Petar. So 20 years ago, at their high school prom, all 3 accidentally witnessed a gruesome murder of a young man on a stretcher. So they are horrified by seeing this. So is the murderer called the Beast well known in the small community, and is he close to the authorities?
So, did the killer face consequences for the crime? Did any of 3 friends testify against him?
So after this, life separates them. 20 years later, when the old dictatorship falls, Stevan, a 38 years old journalist educated at the West, comes back to his hometown and he contacts his old friends Michan and Petar. He wants to look into the case about the Beast. So is he happy about finally making some change? But are he friends, the same people they were 20 years ago? So Petar is now a respected criminal and businessman and one of the Beast's business associates. So his nickname is Tarantino. So did he get the nickname Tarantino because he's a passionate cinephile or a food fetish guy? So is he known for scenes with a lot of blood?
On the other side, we have Michan. He is a police inspector with no ambition that anything can change for the better. He is essentially good but cynical man. Does he and Tarantino occasionally collaborate on Dirty Business? Yes, of course. They are just close to control each other.
So at some point, Stevan, the journalist, disappears. So 10 days later, the abyss called Estavella, a large dirt and a water hole, erupts again and spits out his body. Is it a suicide? So this is where our TV show starts, and its goal is to find the killer. So does Stevan's murder have anything to do with his old school friends? So since this is a story about generational trauma, we also have a young and ambitious Inspector Slavko and his young partner Jasna. So will they too solve the case?
Yes.
So will the truth come at a high price?
Yes.
Yes.
So does that mean that there will be deaths, love, revenge, and honor? So that's our story in a nutshell. We can't wait to make it a reality. So our help would be really, really useful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now I invite the trio from Montenegro, starting with Matija, Milo, and Nemanja, to join me. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Greetings from Podgorica. It's our pleasure to be here to participate into this wonderful event.
Happy to have you. Let's see what the jury members prepared for you. Who's going to start? The jury?
Hi, I can start. Thank you so much for that very energetic pitch. I think your theme is very interesting, generational trauma. I was a little bit wondering how your engine work and if you have any references for the show.
Yeah, we have many references for the visual approach and for the thematic treatment. The main references are TV show Barry, Atlanta, especially TV show Get Shorty, even and Fleabag on the moments. So that are the main references for our TV show. And of course, Mr. in Between. And of course, Mr. in Between, yeah. The famous Australian TV show.
Thank you. Anybody else from the jury?
I have sorry, who?
Grace.
Was there somebody else?
Grace, I hear Grace.
Yeah. Sorry, I just heard a famous Australian TV show. What was that?
Mr. In Between. Mr. In Between.
Mr. In Between. Okay, yeah.
It's a story from a perspective of a serial killer.
Yeah.
Not serial, sorry, but of a higher contract killer, actually.
Sorry, yeah, that sounds funny. That's good. What is your next step? What are you going to do next? What do you want to do next?
The next step is actually shooting a pilot episode. So actually our project somehow it boiled within us. It actually stayed there for a while, and it's a right time for realization. And we are planning to shoot some pilot episode in the next 15 days. So we got the crew actually. Thank you.
Okay. And I heard also somebody else's voice. Was that a question? Or?
Yes.
Yes, go
yes,
on.
I have a question. Thank you also for a really good pitch. And I was just wondering, because as I read from your pitch, you are basing your story on, how to say, real life experiences in your home areas. And I'm just wondering, how do you feel about that in your process? Is it you have to be really brave to tell these stories? Could you just say a little bit about that perspective? Thank you.
Yeah, we thought about it, and actually a part of our pitch there is also like a sentence that we are somehow we are pretty aware of that, and somehow it is time to speak out about a generation
about generational trauma, about things that somehow our society keeps silent about. And it's not just a documentary. There are certain and specific moments that somehow could reference to some events, to some part of our plot and our story. But we are ready actually to face any kind of I won't say trouble, but any kind of feedbacks from actually from Montenegrin public, from the area, from the system. This is a story about a system, about a necessity of changing the one, about necessity of facing some past, some unwitnessed past.
Thank you for this sharing, and of course, good luck. Now we are moving to Croatia and the TV series Stringers, to be presented by an award screenwriter and journalist Nikola Kupreshanin. Nikola has already collaborated on several projects with an Oscar-winning director Danis Stanovic, who is also attached to this project. Both pilot and deck are ready, and they're looking for a direct development of financing for the fall season from a streamer or broadcaster. The video.
Stringers are freelance journalists who work without any benefits, like health insurance or a safety net or anything really. You can do the job either by reporting from your local community, or you can travel abroad, or you can even visit the war zones. But once there, nothing will protect you really from either bullets or drones or bombs. So why would you do it? Usually it's a first stepping stone towards becoming the more established journalist, but also you may simply want to learn how the world really works, because becoming the stringer is one of the best schools of life that nobody probably ever told you about. But you have to go out there and you have to hunt for the story. My name is Nikola Kupreshanin and I'm a screenwriter, but I also used to work as a stringer for 5 years, on and off, reporting from the conflict zones around the world, where I met many wonderful colleagues who provided me now with the basis of the characters of my story. So one of them is John, a brilliant young mind who was capable of bringing down entire governments simply by reading financial reports. And yet, when I first met him, he was so pale and so malnourished that I was sure he was going to collapse like any second. And why? Because he was forced to go strive for others, and you can only earn as much while doing so. Then there's Alina, not your typical 22-year-old. Her dedication and ambition was at moments borderline obsessive, and to be honest, even a little bit scary, because while majority of her peers were just finishing college, trying to decide what to do in life, she was already out there in the field, working with other journalists, helping them connect to local politicians and mobsters and even paramilitary commanders. And finally, there's Nicholas, a veteran stringer who never achieved a major breakthrough, but whose vast knowledge and expertise were fascinating to me. However, since he spent the majority of his life covering all the conflicts and wars of the 21st century, it turned him into a nihilist and a heavy substance abuser. But at the same time, I could still feel so much pain inside of him, and it was touching really, because it proved to me that even after working so many years in the field, you could still care deeply about the world. So all the characters are based on real people, and it's all real, but it's also fiction. The story begins in Kiev a couple of months before the beginning of the Russian invasion, and we follow our three stringers, Alina, John, and Nicholas, as they start their individual investigations on Petro, a Ukrainian politician on the rise, and the way he's connected to Svetlana, a murdered translator. And at the beginning, they are helping each other, as colleagues do. But as soon as they realize they are in fact following the same story, they turn on each other, undermining the competition. And it gets ugly, and it comes back to bite them. Because the story of Petro and Svetlana's murder is actually intertwined into a complex web of international espionage and geopolitical intrigues. And soon our three stringers realize that their lives are actually hanging from the string, and they have to find a way to collaborate, this time just to be able to survive. And in the meantime, the Russian invasion creeps ever near, until one day the tanks roll in, crushing everyone's agendas, while the conspiracy they were investigating seemingly fades into irrelevance. So, Stringer is an 8 hours part thriller series. The main theme explores all the ways in which individuals can wrestle control away from the forces that both shape and pervade our everyday existence. It deals with uncertainties, living the precarious life, and how can we grow stronger because of it. Only when the pressure becomes too much to bear can we learn really who we are. And are we brave enough? Do we care enough? And are we human enough? Because once the darkness descends, all who can we lean on are other fellow humans. Thank you.
So I kindly invite Nicola to join me.
Hey.
Hello, Nicola. All set for the questions? Let's see who's going to start first. So the jury, the floor is yours. Take some time.
I can start.
Yes.
With a general question about the structure, because in your pitch, I understood well the themes and stories you want to tell. And I just wanted to know how far in development you are, and if you already know the season outline, and if it's going to be a limited or returning, a bit more about the structure. Thank you.
So the pilot is ready. It's actually had its third draft, and the deck is ready with the seasonal outline worked out. So like a treatment of the season is ready. The series ends with all the major questions answered. All the characters' arcs are closed. So there will be no ambiguities left. So it can be actually, it can remain the limited series, but it also can organically proceed to the second season with war underway in its first year, and it can take some other issues that won't be covered in the first season regarding the work of the journalists in such circumstances.
Thank you. And let's see if we have one more question for Nicola.
I have a question.
Grace?
Oh, Dunya, please go first.
No, it's okay.
Nicola, thank you, Dunya. Thank you, Nicola, for your pitch and your story. I'm curious, are you looking also at co-production?
Sure. Yeah. We're looking for...
Are you having any conversations regarding co-production?
Several, but there's a list, but the producer is the one dealing with. I think we have like 8 or something opened conversations. We are waiting for some concrete confirmation or interest or.
Yeah, a lot of interest. So this is a good sign. But let's see what Dunya wanted to ask you. Dunya?
Yeah, so it was roughly about the same thing, because I was wondering about your 3 main characters. Where are they from? And John, Alina, and Nicholas. What's their nationality? And can you have a thought about that when speaking of co-production?
Originally, like in real life, where are they from, or in the series?
No, in your series.
I mean, in the real life, they were like the Nicholas is from the United States, the John is from the UK, and Alina is from the Balkan region, from the mix background. But I'm open for adapting their. I'm open for adapting their nationalities, because the thing that makes them interesting characters is not so much connected to where they come from. I mean, both Nicholas and John are kind of, like tourists in the foreign land. So that's the main thing. They're from the West. They're definitely from the West. Alina is a native, so that's the main thing. It's not so, for me, it's not as important. Is it from the France or Germany or UK or whatever?
Thank you. Let me see just if we have some more questions from the jury, or I can move on. I will wait a second. Okay, thank you, Nicola, and good luck. Last but not the least, it is the project from Serbia. The title is Wool, and Milena Jambasovic, creator, producer, on behalf of Filmbro Production, is going to present it to us. Let's have a look at the video.
Welcome to Sirogojno in the 60s. It's a remote, decaying mountain village in Serbia with no electricity, no phones, and no paved roads. And importantly, 90% on 1,000 inhabitants are sheep. The men in the village struggle to make money through hard physical work. The women work even harder with everything else, but of course don't get paid for it. For centuries, a woman's destiny here was nothing but household work, raising children, and knitting sweaters to survive the cold. But one woman saw another destiny for herself, Anka Jerovic. And now she has to return from the capital to her childhood village. No husband, no kids at the age of 29. She's the black sheep. She's educated. The first woman from Sirogojno to finish a university degree. She dreams big and wants to prove her worth to the world, but most of all to her patriarchal mother. Anka's vision is to create successful business and bring beautiful sweaters to the world made by local wool knitters. This could change the women's lives, and it could change the village at its core. And of course, Anka's journey from the mountain village in the socialist Yugoslavia in the 60s will be bumpy as she finds her way to the fjords and better sheep. Yes, we have sheep again, but this time different ones, of Iceland. And manages to bring her knitters, including her mother, to conquer the glamorous runways of Paris as models, creating the world-famous brand of Sirogojno sweaters. One storyline follows Anka's business narrative. At first, she sells sweaters door to door to retail stores. She keeps being rejected, but doesn't accept no and ends up at Zagreb Fashion Show. Anka is pushing and pushing to create success, and now even her mother helps her to convince other women to knit for her. When Anka realizes that local wool stands between her and the international market, Anka is forced to find a new partner, the government itself. Working with the largest state-owned export company, Anka must navigate thousands of bureaucratic obstacles and personal vendettas as she stubbornly refuses to get a party membership. The second storyline follows the village women's struggles for emancipation as they start to share intimate experiences they never spoke about before, like what sexual satisfaction is and how to best spend the money they earn. So you can see that while the men are happy that Anka brings them electricity, they're being challenged in every areas of their lives, making the village a battleground of power struggles. Fighting against tradition, politics, and patriarchy, Anka succeeds and creates changes for many other women. But when the Balkan War breaks out in the 90s, the company crumbles under international sanctions, and she is forced to face a difficult decision. Will she save herself, or the company that has become her whole life? I'm Milena Džambasović. I'm from Serbia, and I'm the producer and creator of the 6th-episode limited drama series Wall, which is inspired by real people and events. My roots are from this area, and I've carried this story with me throughout my life. And I want everyone to know that my country has a fantastic fashion brand with a story about women's empowerment that transcends politics and borders. I've been active in the industry for 15 years and started my own company in 2016, where I've had international collaborations and produced the 2nd season of successful TV series Besa. With Wall, we are in the script development stage in the writer's room and have season outlines and soon a pilot. This is a co-production between Serbia and Iceland, and we have an LOI from a local broadcaster as well as a confirmed co-producer from Iceland. But above all, it is especially important for me to present a warm and positive story from my country to a global audience, and to acknowledge the invisible work of our grandmothers and great-grandmothers. How pretty it is, huh? Thank you.
Finally, we come to the last project, and I would like to invite Milena to join us on stage. So hello, Milena.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
So let's see who has the question.
I can start. So thanks for your pitch. You mentioned Iceland also as a setting, right? And I think you also mentioned that you already have an Icelandic co-production partner. So when it comes to that setting, what do we actually see in the series? What actually happens there in Iceland? If you could comment briefly on that, that would be great.
So it's a natural. Thank you for the question. I think it's very good to clarify that part, because it's a natural co-production. Since the sweaters I'm talking about in the story, they are made of Icelandic wool originally. So we want to get into the story Iceland from the 4th episode when they go to make a deal. When our character goes to Iceland to make a deal of importing the wool. That's story-wise, but we are also have partners on board who are working with us on developing of the script in the writer's room.
Thank you.
So it will basically be one episode. Mainly.
No, it will be like 90% of the 4th episode for sure. And then we are developing also how we can see partially story further on in the 5th and 6th episode. But they're returning to the village, definitely. The 4th episode is the biggest story of Iceland.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let's see if anybody else from the jury also wants to know more about the project.
I have sorry.
So somebody starts.
Yeah. So I just have a brief question. I thank you for your really nice pitch, and it's a really visual idea you have for the story, and I love this strong woman lead who is the black sheep, comes back to her hometown and just gets everyone going, and so I'm just curious about where you are in the process. Do you have the whole story written out? Do you know the ending? Where are you at now? So thank you.
Thank you. So we are in the process of in a writer's room, and we do have 6 episode story outlines, but we are still working on them and developing them. We are now circularized the 1st episode, so we're starting with the script of the 1st episode, and parallel we're developing of the other 5th episode. So yes, we do know basically most of the stories, because we did the first part, we did the research, we did interviews, so we know how we want this story to look like until the end. But of course, it's a process, and of course, it's still developing.
Thank you. And I heard somebody else's voice, so let's see if the person comes back from the jury. Hello, hello.
Hi. Hi.
Grace? Mm-hmm.
Hi. Thank you, Milena. You know, whenever I hear the word sheep, my ears prick up extra because I come from New Zealand, right? That's where I was brought up. So I find your story just on that level, I connect to that. But I'm curious about your tone and your style of your story. Could you tell me about that? Can you give me an example of what shows? And I don't like this question when I get asked myself, but could you give an example of what this show is compared to that you can think of today?
Of course, sure. And I like sheep as well. There are different kinds of sheep, right? So obviously she needed to go from Serbia to Iceland to find a better world. But we also have in the story interesting fact that first she tried with Australian wool. So she ends up with Icelandic. Anyway, regarding the tone and how this series is supposed to look like, it's actually drama with comedy elements. But the benchmark series would be like Marvelous Miss Maisel, then Carmen Curlers from Denmark, then Ladies Gambit, and also Borgen. For building our main character, similar to something between like Borgel, Ladies Gambit, Carmen Curlers, let's say.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let's see if we have somebody else, or we can come to the closure of the Q&A. Okay, so thank you, Milena, and good luck to you as well. So, dear audience, as we announced earlier, we're gonna take a break from you, and we're gonna come back in 15 minutes. And I really want to use this opportunity to congratulate to all participants, as they were really excellent companion, not only in the process of the pitching, but also in the process of the workshop. As some of the jury members already mentioned, it's not an easy decision to make. So we will have some difficult tasks to do now, and I still hope that you have your coffee and tea ready, as we will be right back with you in 15 minutes sharp. See ya! And dear audience, we are back. So I hope that all participants and the jury members are as well on the board, as well as our dear tutors. So as we said, it was not an easy decision to make. And first of all, we're going to start with a special mention by tutors. So I would kindly ask Valeria or Helen, who starts first, to give us an insight about the special mention.
Thank you so much, Martina. And I will read our motivation. For the coaches' special mention, we see one project and team that had an incredible journey within the days of the workshop. Being deep inside their projects and starting from a place full of energy and confusion, this team pulled together and delivered a pitch that was clear, surprising, funny, and totally aligned with the tone and energy of their project.
In the spirit of the Estevala of their story, they revealed that even if Montenegro has a young film industry, there is a lot of established talent and creative energy present with these three creators. Our coach's special mention goes to the three thumbs up musketeers from Montenegro, Milo, Matija, and Nemanja. Congratulations.
Can I ask Matija, Milo, and Nemanja to join us for quick sharing? Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you, thank you very much. Thank you.
What do you have to say now? Are you surprised?
First of all, we are actually no, we are not so surprised. We thought, especially when you said that, that journey from the start till the end. So somehow we knew that it's gonna be us. Thank you for this wonderful week. Thank you. We are really flattered to be part of this, and we were really flattered to be part of this competition. Congratulations to the future winners. And this special mention is something that's gonna actually help us into establishing a serious financial network foundation, and in actually finding the resources, some financial resources for our future project. So thank you once again. And thank you to our mentors.
Yes, to our mentors. Yes.
To Helen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we would like to move to Serious Mania, and I kindly invite Solène Moreau to join me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. So I'd like to award the Series Mania Accreditation Award to the project Stringers, a project that offers a specific point of view addressing issues of today about journalists in armed conflict. And the writer's personal experience as a stringer himself adds a strong, authentic voice to the story. So we believe that the project has a strong international co-production partnership potential, and that the Series Mania accreditation hopefully can help unlock those partnerships.
So much, and I would like to invite Nicola to join me on a virtual stage. So what say you?
Thank you very much. I was very happy to participate in this, and thank you for your kind words and for believing that it has a great potential, and I'm looking forward going to Serious Mania. So yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, Nicola. And ladies and gentlemen, I invite Anne Laila to join me on stage. Anne Laila, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, with many strong projects in this selection and a sense of urgency across the field, it has been a huge challenge for the jury to pick only one project. And the jury's motivation highlights that this is a story about a strong female lead, a black sheep coming back to her hometown in Serbia, who starts a small wool business with her community and takes it to the world. The jury thinks that this is a funny, warm, authentic story with a universal appeal and a unique perspective with a great potential for an international audience. The winner of the Serious Rough Pitch main award is Wool, represented by creator and producer Milena Jambasovic. Congratulations.
So I invite Milena to join us on stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's such an honor. Thank you, jury members. Thank you, Helena and Valeria, for working with me to present this project the best possible way. Thank you, Martina, for organizing this amazing event. Thank you, other participants, for support. And most of all, thanks to my co-producers and writers for doing amazing job so I can be able to present this project best possible way. And this award is very much needed in this stage of development. Thank you.
Thank you, Milena. And thank you, all of you who made the third edition Serious Rough Pitch, the Balkan Way possible. So yes, indeed, we came to the end of a wonderful journey, and there are a lot of different groups of people to forward a thank you. Above all, media desks, film centers from the region, but also the jury members and tutors and participants. I really want to congratulate all of you for being part of the third edition. As we are coming to an end, and indeed it came so fast, and not furious, but very fast, allow me to use one quote for the closure, because I think it's very relevant for what we are trying to do with the Balkan pitch. And it was written by Alejandro González Inarritu. And he was referring to being a third world citizen. And he says, as a third world citizen, I always feel that I need to express my point of view. Sometimes the points of view of third world countries are never expressed. So we don't have the possibility sometimes to spread what we feel and how we see things. Along the same line, we could also use this quote for the region, for the Balkan region, because we deserve the same treatment, and our stories can be as intriguing, as funny, as interesting as any other European one. For this reason, we create opportunities and really safe spaces for our stories that are yet to be told. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear audience, for supporting us, and thank you, Hiperprodukcija, for making my office as a real live stream studio, and Lana for being a backup and following me in this process. So have a nice day ahead, and looking forward to see you somewhere soon, and good luck with your projects. Thank you.